Welcome back to Skate Talk Online. This is the third week of reviewing Grand Prix events this week. Helsinki Grand Prix, first ever time in Finland. I'm back with PJ Kwong, CBC sports analyst. Let's talk about the ice dance competition first, actually. The big story here was Stepanova and Bukin versus Guignard and Fabbri of Italy. The Italians in the rhythm dance actually had the wrong music play to start the program. And then it took about 3 or 4 minutes for them to actually they actually went back into their pose and they still didn't have the music, so they skated around for a few minutes. From your experience and from what you've seen in competition, do you think that helps or hinders a team when you have a break like that?
I think it throws them off potentially because it depends on the team, of course, and lots of time is spent by the coaches and the skaters doing simulations of every possible scenario. So I'm sure they had trained for, what happens if the music doesn't start? What happens if it's the wrong music? But nevertheless, when you're ready to go, you're ready to go. And what you don't want to be doing is ready to go and then have to wait. So, they're experienced competitors, but I never think that it's ideal. It's not like you're getting all of a sudden like this extra bonus warm-up time. You're already warmed up. You've already done everything that you need to do. Now it's just enough time to sort of play in your head is what I think.
And then on top of that, once they did get started, at the end of their program, they received a deduction as a time violation. And then I saw in the press conference, and several people suggested that maybe their music was played a little bit too slow. And even if it's a fraction of a second, you're running over the time and you're getting that deduction. So it's an interesting situation, I think, but I do have to say, they really delivered not only in the rhythm dance, but also in the free dance. I said at Skate America in my review that they're going for these big elements, and sometimes it looks like it can be a little bit sloppy just because they're trying so much, and there's a lot of complexity into and out of everything. But I see a difference in 2 weeks already from Skate America, and I think this is a team that is going to build momentum throughout the year. Everything is so professional, polished, classy, I would say, and both of their programs are really, really in character, and they really believe in them like I've never seen before with them in the past.
I also think that they've made some overall improvements in their skating. I mean, this was a strong team who's just gotten stronger. So that part, I think, needs to be noted as well. These people are doing, Charlene and Marco are doing the work in the off season to show and to be able to gain those results in the season.
They did have a fall. Well, she had a fall in the free dance on a non-element, so it's just a 1-point deduction down, up. Didn't really ruin the theme, the feeling of the program at all. But when you look at them versus Stepanova and Bukin, who were the winners here, they narrowly lost out. So without the time deduction in the rhythm dance and without the fall in the free dance, you have to think maybe their PCS went down a little bit because of that fall. It probably would have been neck and neck. Mm-hmm. Looking at Stepanova and Bukin, I love this team. I really love this team. I think they're very dynamic and they make you want to watch them. My one critique with their rhythm dance is that I was a little bit disappointed that it didn't really give me a tango vibe. And she's a great skater, no doubt, but sometimes I feel like she has this kind of open body position that kind of has a separation between them. Free dance, on the other hand, I absolutely loved it. I believed in everything that they were doing.
Yep.
The twizzles every single time that they get down into that shoot the duck, sit spin, whatever you want to call it position, it's amazing. I'm amazed that other teams can't do it or haven't tried it because they've been doing it for a while now, and it gets the crowd every single time. They always get a high GOE for it. I really, really appreciate them, and I think that they are potentially world medalists this year.
Wow. That's very high praise indeed, because I know that within Russia, there's a real battle between Stepanova, Bukin, and Sinitsina and Katsalapov. So there are people sort of in each camp, much in the same way that we used to have Daisuke Takahashi fans and Yuzuru Hanyu fans. So it's going to be interesting to see what they can do. Do you know what? I love them as well. I think that they're very, very dynamic is exactly the right word. Good for you. You stole that word from me. Thank you very much. No, you didn't. It was out there. And I like their sense of drama. So for me, I'm all in. So I couldn't agree with you more. World medalist, though, eh? Oh, gee, I don't know. I mean, it's possible for sure, but there's a lot of depth in the ice dance competition, even with those teams, like Virtue and Moyer, who didn't come back. I mean, we've already got one spot that's spoken for with the Papadakis and Cizeron, so that's spoken for. And then we've got returning bronze medalists Caitlin Weaver and Andrew Pogier. So there's two potential spots, and then we're looking at some of the teams who are skating so brilliantly, like Madison and Zach, world silver medalists. So there's not a lot of room there at the top, and there's some excellent, excellent ice dancers out there. So, but we heard it here first. Tony says, I love that. I love the early predictions.
But if you do look at what the scores are this season, and you can't really compare between competitions, but there's a big group of teams that are all within the same level if they all deliver. And it's going to be really interesting, I think, for the podium this year. Papadakis Cizeron, he has a back injury. He's out of NHK this weekend. But even so, you have to figure that they are the favorites. So you're looking at the other two steps of the podium at this point. McNamara and Carpenter from the United States delivered solid programs once again here, bronze medal. At Skate America, I wouldn't say that I was cold about this team, but I really thought that they were a very introverted, introspective team that they don't grab your attention. But watching their free dance here, I changed my mind. I actually really, really like this dance. And they're technically so proficient. They remind me of the Shibutanis. Everything is always in place. They're a team that I think we could be looking at to be on the podium at nationals and taking this trip to the World Championships.
Do you know, it's funny that you should say that, because you and I had sort of like a friendly difference of opinion, because I really like them. And I thought there were things about their performances, both that I thought, wow, I like this team quite a bit. So I'm glad to see you come around to my point of view. Way to go, Tony.
Looking at we've seen most of the top teams this season. We haven't seen Papadakis Cizeron. We haven't seen Chalk and Bates. Otherwise, we've seen the majority of the top 10 in the world.
Yep.
You, as someone who has skated the Tango Romantica and also taught it, who do you think, name maybe two or three teams that have, for you, the absolute vision of what the Tango Romantica should be as a whole?
So the Tango Romantica is an interesting dance. If you go back to the way that Pakamova and Gorshkov invented the dance, and it was funny, I was talking to Coach Caroline. We had our sectional championships this past weekend, and we were talking about the fact that they skated to Hernando's Hideaway. So very crisp, sort of specific kind of tango. When we had the introduction of people being able to choose whatever music they want to express the tango, that has to fall within a range in the rhythm, then it's kind of left open to interpretation. So, for instance, everybody's loving the Chinese team and their Tango Romantica, and they're getting very high scores. And then they move on to Pirates of the Caribbean. The program does not make sense to me. It doesn't resonate with me in any way. Where I look at, and I've talked about them before, Olivia Smart and Adria Diaz, I love their tango, because to me, it beautifully represents the tango. Piper Gillis and Paul Poirier, I love their tango. Madison Hubble and Zach Donahue, same thing. So the steps, I'm not crazy about the timing in a lot of the places in the Tango Romantica. And what I would suggest is people go back on YouTube and look at Pakamova and Gorshkov, because they're the ones who invented the dance and they skate it to perfection. So, but the music can definitely distract us. Because if the rhythm is slightly, it's within a range, right? But if it's not exactly in my mind, then it's kind of hard to know for sure if they're hitting all of those key points.
Next, let's move on to the men's competition. Yuzuru Hanyu, who I actually predicted would not win this competition, and you did. And you said, what were your exact words? Anyone else having a chance to win? No, I think that's what you said. And you were right. We saw.
No, you asked me if Kolyada could win.
Oh, yeah, that's what it was.
No.
Yeah. Really impressive scores this early in the season. We talked in the preview about how he's really kind of hot or cold this early. He either really delivers or not so much. We saw a Hanyu that looks like he hasn't missed a beat since the Olympic Games. Are you surprised that he was at this level? I mean, I knew you knew he was going to win, but were you surprised that he was at this level? And what did you think about his programs?
So I think that they have grown a lot since I saw them at Autumn Classic, first of all. And, there is no more fierce competitor, I don't think. I mean, when Yuzuru Hanyu gets that look in his eyes, you just know that he's already made up his mind, say, okay, guys, the gold is mine. You get to go and get whatever other medal you want, but really, this one's mine. So I've seen that look before, and I just think that he's a serious competitor, and if he's staying in for this season, he wants to win all of it. There's no real point in being here. It's not a question of, well, I'm going to be here, and I'm going to try and do this, and I'm going to, it's okay if I don't do that. I think he's in it to win it everywhere. So I love it. I think it's thrilling. I hope he skates forever.
I think his short program is wonderful. He's using a piece called
Yeah.
Otanyol, which was made famous first by Maria Butirskaya 20 years ago. Won the world
Yeah.
championships with this program, and then we've seen it all over the place in skating. I really like the short program. I think every short program that Hanyu delivers, he's working on cramming every single split second, doing something, some kind of choreography,
Yeah.
some kind of transitional movement. The entries into the jumps are insane. He's always pushing himself, and this is a post-Olympic year.
Yeah.
This is the year where you can really play around. Maybe other skaters become more artistic or
Yeah.
learn a different technique. He has not stopped, and I have to give him credit for that. His free skate, on the other hand, he found this music because Evgeny Plushenko used it almost 15 years ago, and he looks at Plushenko as one of his biggest idols. So he wanted to do kind of a tribute to him, in a sense, with this program. I feel like there could be more happening in the program. I think there are spots that are relatively empty, and by Hanyu's standards, that's a high standard. So for him, I think I was just expecting a little bit more. That's not to say that he won't build it as the season goes on. But for me right now, it leaves me a little bit cold. It doesn't give me an impression like most of his other programs. So we'll see moving forward if that changes.
I did an interview with Shaylin Bourne, who choreographed that free program, and it was very interesting to me to listen to her explanation of the inspiration for the program. And yes, the music was the jumping off point, but for Shaylin, and it was an image that she was able to translate to Yuzuru, it's a story of like a mythical story of the creation of Japan. So there is lots of room for more things to be added. And we've got to always remember, this is the man who wants to land the first quad axel. So there's probably a little bit of breathing room built in to the program to accommodate that as well, would be my suspicion. That I don't have on any kind of reliable authority. It's just simply my suspicion. So there are moments in the music that seem to really build, like the music builds. So I think that it's still very kind of early, and as I said, it has jumped leaps and bounds ahead of where I saw it at Autumn Classic, which is only the end of September. So I'm fascinated to see what it will become.
And we also, this is maybe a point that we need to bring up. We've said it several times already this year. Men's free skates are 30 seconds shorter this year. Someone like Hanyu, who is an artist as much as he is a technician, had that time to really sell his program and get into the character. And now that he has 30 seconds less, you think about all the transitional work that he has into and out of his jumps. That takes a lot of time, and the footwork. He's getting level 4. Maybe that's why I see a difference. He doesn't have as much time to really sell it. But I have no doubt that as the season, he's not someone that kind of sits on content. He's always looking for more. So I think that as the season goes on, we'll see a big change. And once again, I mean, 2-time Olympic gold medalist, and he doesn't look like he's slowing down at all. It's remarkable. Silver medalist, Michal Brezina, another silver medal here. He's in the Grand Prix final for sure. This is a skater that I'm pretty sure towards the end of last season said he was retiring. I think he changed his mind maybe early in the summer, and he has the best Grand Prix results so far that he's ever had in his career. What do you think it is that really just got that spark going for him?
I think there are a couple of things. I think that when he's good, he's very, very good. And when he's not on, it's a whole different story. I think there are a couple of things. I think, first of all, to be in an event that doesn't have all of the heavy hitters certainly helps. I'm glad for him because, as he said, it's the first time he's going to be at the Grand Prix final in like 7 years or something. So good for him. So if you came back and you're looking for success and you're looking for results, and he also kind of works very hard. I don't think that this material, in terms of the ages of skating, when we think about it 10 years from now, will we remember either the short or the free? I don't think this go around, but we will remember the fact that he was able to put together two solid results, and those earned him a spot. So congratulations to him. I'm all about how you play the game. Really, this is a competition. So you got to figure out what's going to work for you.
And he plays a great game with
Sure
Kwong
does.
I mean, that was his money jump when he was younger. He kind of lost it for a while, but now,
Yeah,
so far this season, it's on, and he's delivering.
touch wood.
Junhwan Cha, another bronze medal here, 2 weeks in a row. He has a chance at the Grand Prix final. It's a little bit iffy for him. Uh, Once again, solid skating, and he didn't have any time in between to really prepare. And going halfway across the world obviously has to take its toll. But I thought he looked good here, and he's another one, as we said before, as the season goes on and he has that breathing space in between competitions now. I think he's really going to be one to watch.
And he's enormously talented. We can't discount the talent factor. So talented, working with a wonderful team, and with solid material. I think that he's got kind of a winning combination. You're right. He's on the bubble for the Grand Prix final, so we'll have to see sort of what the final three events bring.
Fourth and fifth place here, Mikhail Kolyada, Boyang Jin. Kolyada, I actually thought had a chance at winning this event. I was very wrong. He's a very, very hit or miss skater.
Yep.
Typically, if the beginning jumps start to go wrong, it's the first maybe half of the program isn't in good shape. He had a very poor short program. Kind of redeemed himself in the free skate, and I have to say, skating to Carmen, a lot of people roll their eyes, but he, with his perfect posture, his straight back, he has good choreography, and I like the program. But the name of the game, obviously in men's skating, if you're going to attempt the quads, you have to land them. And we see a lot of
Yes.
mistakes from him. We see a lot of pops. He needs to get it together, or he's going to fall behind. Even these guys like Brezina, who the content isn't anywhere near what he's attempting, but he's actually doing it.
Yeah.
Boyang
It's
Jin
about playing the game.
on the other hand, he's really, besides Nathan Chen, he was competing seniors when Chen wasn't even a senior yet, and he was doing quadlets and all these quads that really revolutionized men's skating. He did have an injury over the summer. At first, it was said that he was going to move to Canada to train with Brian Orser, and then he decided on his own that he'd rather stay in China. Uh, Obviously, not 100% in this competition. Was landing quadlets, though, so it's there. But fifth place here, he's not going to make the final. He'll have an entire month free, basically, to improve his skating. And then I think he's another one. You can't count him out. Two-time world bronze medalist, narrowly missed a medal at the Olympics. If he's on, he's good. If he's not on, like at the World Championships last year, he's 22nd in the free skate or something. So have to keep him in mind as well.
You've taken the words right out of my mouth, because he is somebody who, created a name for himself by doing those extraordinary jumps. It's hard to sustain that, though. So, and especially if you're injured. So hopefully he'll be back on track for, 4 continents and beyond.
Moving on to pairs, this was a pretty disappointing competition overall. Zabiiako and Enbert of Russia came away with the gold medal. They opted this season for both programs to be dark and dramatic. It's like a continuation almost from one program to the next, even though it's different music. She changed her look. She has shorter hair. It's kind of slicked back to match that. I think their short program is to Alexander Nevsky. I liked the idea of it, and I liked some of the precise choreography that they were pulling off, especially in an event where we had a lot of slow pieces with really just skating through the music. Free skate, I kind of got lost, and I have to say I'm a little bit disappointed, as they could have this season really come out with something really good and made a name and a push to possibly be on the world podium. I don't think that their programs as a whole, at least at this point, are going to put them in that position. What do you think?
I think that they're a dramatic team, and I like their lines, and I think that they can take some risks. I think that when it's kind of a bit of a lackluster field, and I was disappointed really by the quality of the skating in the pairs. I didn't think that it was very good, sort of across the board. There were a lot of mistakes. So they were able to hold their own. I think that once we see them in competition with some really strong pairs, that's gonna really tell us where they're at in terms of the world standings.
Della Monica and Gorizia from Italy held on to the silver medal narrowly after winning a sloppy short program, as we said. They've had rough outings so far in that free skate this year, not only here but in prior competition. They were a team last year at the World Championships. You know, they're skating at home. They put themselves in position to actually potentially win a medal. Have they taken a step back this year so far?
They're part of that group of pairs. There's the top group, and then there's the bottom pairs, and then there's that group in the middle that really could be anybody, in the sense that it could be their turn this time to medal and somebody else's turn next time. So I don't know 100%. And for me, they're a very hit and miss kind of team. There's I don't know if it's I don't feel a connection between the two skaters. So for me, I find myself watching either him or her. But I appreciate the fact that they're in it to win it, that they're really trying hard. I just feel that when, everybody is sort of having off days, which is how the pair events seem to me, then I think it's difficult for the cream to really rise to the top, because people are looking for competition. And if everybody's kind of like a little bit loosey-goosey, then it's not going to work really for anybody.
Pavlyuchenko and Kodikin from Russia, they're world junior champions. They came away with bronze medal here.
Mm-hmm.
Another Russian team that we have to add to the list to watch. Certain things, certain traits are going to come with Russian pairs. I think they're a fantastic team, but I don't think they're listening to the music at all yet. And
I agree.
If they, and they're young, so that comes with time. If they can start to really listen to the music and understand the choreography behind what they're doing, then yes, they can be ones to watch. Right now, I think they should have gotten the silver medal in this event, honestly.
Pavlyuchenko and Hodikin, I looked at them on YouTube before the event, so I would have, some kind of idea. Because I try and, when I'm writing my preview for CBC, I try and take a look at skaters with whom I'm not that familiar, just to sort of get a bit of a feel. And I thought to myself, wow, I really like these two. They looked promising, and they looked sharp, and they looked like beautiful body line, and great match. And then when I saw them skate in their Grand Prix, I thought, I'm not feeling any of that. So it could be that they were nervous because this was their first Grand Prix event. It could be just a function of going from junior to senior. I'm not really sure, but I didn't see that take no prisoners kind of attitude that I saw on YouTube. I really wanted to see that sort of strength and that confidence. That will come with time. And I think you're right. We need to watch out for them, because I think that, 1 or 2 seasons down the road, maybe closer to 2 than 1, I think that we're looking at a very promising team.
Moving on to the ladies. Alina Zagitova, obvious favorite before this event. Problems in the event, though. And this was a relatively weak event as well. I think I expected a little bit more from all of the ladies.
Yeah.
The thing with Alina is she's obviously grown quite a bit since we saw her at the World Championships.
Yeah.
She, in interviews and press conferences, says that she does not consider her height to be an issue, and she doesn't know why people are asking her about it.
Okay.
However, I think that in this competition, I saw a completely different skater than what we saw last season. I think that much like Medvedeva, I think that this is going to be a rebuilding season, whether she realizes it or not, because her jumps are not at the same level that they were last year.
Yep.
And I think that her programs, while they're complex and they're jam-packed, there's no doubt. But she's skating a little bit like clunky to me. I don't know if that's the right word that I'm going for, but it's not smooth. Last year, I was a huge fan of Don Quixote. I was a huge fan of the way the program was set up. I absolutely loved that she was putting everything in at the last minute, and everything matched the music perfectly. This year, It looks like she's struggling even in the basic skating, to stay on one foot, it seems like she is unsure of herself. She's not moving as smoothly. Can't take away the choreography because it's always going to be there, but I'm not getting the same feeling or overall quality from her. What did you think?
It's funny that you should say that because Kurt Browning and I were talking about it along with Caroline in our Behind the Boards Facebook Live for CBC after the event. And I like the fact that she looks a little bit more substantial, is really the word I want to look at. So she, was like very coltish in my mind last year and very convincing sort of diva ballerina. I loved it. I mean, there wasn't anything about what she did last year that I didn't absolutely fall in love with. This year, I think you're right. It's a work in progress. When your balance point and where you where you're able to jump the whole physical aspect of your skating changes when you get a little bit taller. I still think she's pretty exciting to watch, for me anyway. I know what you mean, like her balance point has probably changed a little bit, and that's going to sort of impact things. But I think that the jumps aren't as secure, and they're not as kind of big as they were. And I think that may sort of like slowly catch up with her, because if she's in a field where everybody's jumps are like whistle clean and big, she may find herself in a bit of trouble down the road.
Stanislava Konstantinova from Russia, you actually said watch out for her for that bronze medal. She comes away with a silver medal here because she's very consistent. She had one bad skate last year. The rest of the time she delivered every single time. Continuing that this year, but her overall skating left me cold. She's first of all skating to Anna Karenina in the free skate. It's a really paint by numbers skate to me, at least for the first 3 minutes until she really finishes the jumps. And I think she's out there just to do her job, which is land the jumps at this point. I don't see her as an artist, and I think her jump technique even is a little bit questionable at times. What did you think?
Well, when I take Stanislava and I compare her against Samodurova that we saw at Skate America, to me, she has more polish and finesse than Samodurova. So for me, Samodurova is somebody who's sort of trying on her big sister's clothes in a way. That's the way I always see it, as if she's not quite sure of how she should be on the ice and responding. And although the performance was delightful, it wasn't that convincing. For me, Konstantinova, her performance is far more convincing. I feel that she will grow into those senior shoes more quickly and with more confidence. So although it was a bit paint by numbers this time, I think, again, if we're looking down the road sort of a season from now, I think that she definitely has many more of the qualities that I'm looking for in that transitioning junior to senior skater.
Kaori Sakamoto won silver at Skate America, comes here. Disastrous short program. I don't think she's ever skated that poorly in her life, but comes back, brilliant free skate. She lost the silver medal actually because she couldn't grab her blade in the choreographic sequence, so she lost a few points there. Most simple element of the competition. Of course, she misses that. So now she's on the bubble as far as the Grand Prix final goes. I actually think with her high totals that she's in pretty good shape with a silver and a bronze. Really, really respect her free skate. It's actually one of my favorites this year.
Yeah.
But we saw the nerves maybe in the short program. We now have, it was 7 Japanese ladies in contention. I think it's maybe 8 or 9 now by the third week of the Grand Prix as far as getting to the World Championships.
And more to come.
Yeah, it was still more we probably don't even know about yet. But what do you think about her skating in this competition? What do you think happened in the short? And then what did you think about the free skate?
Do you know what's a funny thing about that short program? I mean, it just seems to be that, people are skating fine on the warm up. They seem to have, it all, in check in terms of what they're thinking about. And then they get out there. It just goes to show you just how hard the sport is. I mean, it looks like nothing. When somebody skates well, it just looks like, well, that seems to be easy. So the real testament of strength in my mind was the fact that she came back from that short program and laid down the free program that she did. So it shows that kind of inner strength an inner kind of like, I can't believe I did that. I'm going to make it right. So any competitor that can show you that is somebody that you can bet has kind of winning on their mind. So for me, that was a, you know, it was wonderful to see. It's kind of like Nathan Chen at the Olympics. I mean, who thought he would have climbed up as far as he did? It was quite wonderful. So Kaori's wasn't quite the same way, but it's just that feeling of, no, I'm not going to let you think that that short program is actually how I skate. So anybody who does that, they've got my complete congratulations.
Her teammate Yuna Shuaiwa, second place in the short program, missed out on a medal, finishing fourth here, but she comes from this long line of Japanese ladies. Really great skating skills, overall quality to her skating. Jumps,
Yep,
a little bit questionable. I mean, I think that she's going to be one that's under the microscope as far as getting the full rotations in.
yep,
But I really enjoyed her here. I really thought that she had both programs were great, very, very within her means again of what she can
yep,
do, and she
yep.
can be happy with her fourth place finish. It was a good competition for her. One thing I do want to bring up though about this particular field of ladies, and it extends more so to the judging. There were a lot of inconsistencies in my mind in the technical panel calls. For example,
Okay.
we saw Rika Hongo in the short program. I thought she had a really fun program to kill Bill. You know, she's always struggled with under rotations, even downgrades sometimes. She fell on a jump in the short. It wasn't a great skate, but the overall program was nice. She got hammered, absolutely hammered by the technical panel. Fast forward to the free skate. I thought all three of the top ladies could have been called for certain elements. Zagitova, first of all, let's start with her. Her triple Lutz, triple loop, both jumps were called under rotated. Even in real time, I think everybody noticed that the loop was really, really short and should have been completely downgraded. I don't know how, if they reviewed that jump, I don't know how it got past the technical panel. Her second double axel was really tiny. She gets no lift on the jump to begin with. It's kind of
Yeah.
that Lipinski fling yourself into the air. But on this particular one, I think it was actually enough short that it could have been downgraded as well. And then I think last year her money jump was the triple flip. Just the accent of the music. That's the one jump that stood out to me all last year for her. This year, I think both of her flips were short enough that they could have been under rotated as well. I don't think that the panel even probably considered reviewing those jumps because that is a jump that she's typically so strong with.
Yep.
Moving
Yep.
on to Sakamoto, she's another one that everything's maybe a little bit short all the time. I think in this particular program, she was fine up until the very end. The triple loop for me would have been under rotated. And then Konstantinova had a few jump elements too where I think that they were a little bit short and she got away with it. She did a double axel, a half loop, triple salchow. I thought the salchow was a little bit short. And another thing that I'm noticing, and I know that this isn't in the rule book really, some of these skaters are really, really pre-rotating their jumps. I know a little bit of pre-rotation is kind of expected, but some of these skaters are really turning almost a full rotation on the ice before that toe pick even gets off the ice. And I think that
Wow.
moving forward, Konstantinova with her triple flips is an example. She doesn't reach back at all on that jump. She kind of, when she jumps, both of her feet are right in line, and it almost is like she's putting her toe pick down and putting pressure on the blade to make it more like a loop almost. So I think moving forward, the technical, or whoever's behind the judging system needs to really think about considering pre-rotations to be as severe as an under-rotation, because we see certain skaters get absolutely hammered because they're a quarter of a turn cheat on every single jump. But maybe they're not pre-rotating at all. And then you have the next skater that's pre-rotating almost a full rotation and getting full credit, if not really high GOE. So I think that's something moving forward that the technical
Interesting
committees,
point.
they need to really, for me,
Look at it.
it's always bothered me when bending the rules on how the jump is supposed to be. So and then that brings me to my other point. The technical panel only has one camera that they use when they're reviewing these jumps that are questionable. My question is, if you have these, you know, even the lower level events now, a lot of these events have more than one camera that are on the skaters. Why aren't they using the feeds that are shown to everybody that's watching the event? Why is there only one camera? We're in 2018. We have the technology. Why are we relying on one camera? And why are we giving the technical panel room to say, well, we can't be sure? I mean, you have cameras there, use the cameras. That's my rant about all of that.
You know what? And here's something else I want you to consider. So my mom was a national level dance judge. And she always used to say, if you miss things as a judge, you need to give the benefit of the doubt to the skater. So I think sometimes that gets lost in this. So if you aren't able to tell for sure, rather than calling it, maybe you need to award it. And you're right.
I agree. If it's a questionable call and you don't know for certain that these jumps are under-rotated or pre-rotated or whatever you want it to be, you have to give the benefit of the doubt. But my issue is that there are certain skaters that no matter what they do, every single one of their jumps is flagged for review because there's this expectation that they're going to, under-rotate. So
yeah.
I know that it takes time for them to go back and look at every single thing. I'd rather see, for example, if you're already reviewing something like Zagitova's Lutz loop combination, and you somehow come to the conclusion that even though she landed forward, and it's obvious that she landed forward on the jump, that she somehow was only under-rotated, then I think that there needs to be something done that assures that these kind of silly calls aren't repeated. That's my whole thing.